We are hearing from new witnesses as the sex trafficking and racketeering trial against Sean Diddy Combs continues today. Yesterday, Dawn Richard, a former member of the pop group Danity Kane, took the stand. And she testified that she witnessed Combs beating his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, on multiple occasions. Combs has pleaded not guilty to all charges. CBS News legal reporter Katrina Kaufman is outside the federal courthouse in Lower Manhattan. She joins us now with more on this. Good morning to you, Katrina. What else did we learn from Dawn Richard? And I'm wondering what really stood out to you during her testimony, the type of thing we don't see in the transcripts.
Yeah. Good morning, Errol. What really stood out was her stories of the abuse that she witnessed. There was one in particular she told about a time when Cassie Ventura was making eggs for Sean Combs at his house. Dawn Richard was there along with Kalina Harper. They were in a trio with Sean Combs called Danity Kane, it was Diddy Dirty Money. She was in multiple groups with Sean Combs, and she saw Sean Combs come down, attempt to hit Cassie with a frying pan, and then saw him drag her upstairs, and she heard the sounds of beating. But one thing that was significant about Richard's testimony is this was the first time we saw a really aggressive cross-examination from Combs' team. They were poking holes in her story, Errol, showing different times that she told it. There were interviews with the government and how the narrative changed a bit each time. But one thing that stood out to me is she said that she tells the story as she remembers it, and that the more she thinks about that time, the more she has remembered. That it was a really difficult moment in time for her, a terrible work environment, and memories that she repressed. And it reminded me of something that Cassie Ventura said in a statement that her lawyer read after her testimony about how the more she remembers, the more she heals. And she said the more she remembers, she can also never forget. And so I think there is also something with survivors where they repress these memories, and we're hearing that from these witnesses on the stand.
So it seems, Katrina, that the prosecution wanted to start with a really standout witness in Cassie Ventura and then have witnesses who corroborate components of her testimony. I know that Ventura's ex-friend and Combs' former personal assistant testified on Monday. What did we learn from them?
Errol, well, one thing is that Cassie Ventura is their star witness, but she was also 8.5 months pregnant on the stand, so they really had to put her first. But with these other witnesses, we are starting to hear echoes of her story, different perspectives on the same one that are corroborating a lot of what she talked about. And Carrie Morgan is a key witness because she was Ventura's best friend for 17 years. She was present for a lot of these incidents with Sean Combs. There was one story she told that sounded like it was the same day that the incident at the Intercontinental Hotel happened. That's the one that we've seen security footage of, where Combs appears to be assaulting Cassie Ventura. So later they were at Cassie's apartment. Carrie Morgan was there, and Combs came and tried to break through the door with a hammer. Morgan testified that Ventura was just sitting on the couch, numb, and she said, I don't think she cared if he came in and killed her. She was just sitting there. Morgan also testified about two other really harrowing incidents where she saw Ventura being abused by Combs, and both of which they ended up going and hiding from him, Errol. So she was a really significant witness on the stand to corroborate that testimony that we heard from Cassie Ventura. We also heard from a former personal assistant of Sean Combs at the end of yesterday. He began crying almost immediately, Errol, just talking about his time working for Combs. And one thing that he said that really stood out was that he was told, this is Mr. Combs' kingdom, and we're all here to serve in it.
Wow, pretty chilling stuff. Katrina Kaufman, thank you.